Uh, oh.
All right, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Wine Wednesday here.
Where we drink wine on Wednesday.
Yeah, we drink wine on Wednesday, or any choice of drink that you may choose.
Chocolate
We're not,
milk would be also really tasty.
Yeah, we're not. What's the word if you are a
Biased?
drink snob? We're not drinkists. here.
Connoisseurs?
Yeah, water, tea, whatever you want. But anyways, we're here. We're live. We're thriving. For those who,
Market's back.
Yeah, for those who thought, we were in a slower market, that could have been slightly true for you in the last week or two, depending on what kind of style you have. But I would argue, anyone who experienced that, that slowness, I think you're back in business today. A couple runners just kind of pop out of nowhere, just like that, like it usually does, and we're all right back on the horse. So
We got like good runners with good volume too. It's like out of the blue, like they're just like, okay, like
yeah,
here's some
good.
runners, and they're not crappy.
No, I have FOMO that I'm not long them, but it is what it is. So
We needed IVVD to wait till tomorrow, but it is what it is. Wow, it's at 3?
At 3, that's what Huddie was telling you. As we speak, BBAI is also trending up to the day highs.
It's drifting.
Highs. I know. I'm tempted to take it overnight, but I know I won't because I'm going to be disciplined. But if I was already long from lower prices,
I'm taking her overnight.
Yeah, see, Dom's doing it. Dom's thinking about
Take her
it.
into the wee hours of the morning.
With the wee hours.
Oh.
The early dawn.
Burning the midnight tequila.
All right, how's everyone doing? What are we all drinking? Joshua Schmidt already starting it in. Kyle, he loves you.
Wow.
Do you know Joshua?
Everyone loves Kyle.
It's hard not
great
to.
job, Austin. Thank you, Josh. Appreciate that. It definitely, I have to admit, last month was pretty. Couldn't really be happier. Pretty sweet. I wish every month was like January. That would be a lot of fun.
Results wise or on the field wise?
Really,
On the field.
well, both. Obviously the end result was fantastic, but I think only losing 10% of the 8 or 10 was it what was my win rate 82, 80 something 83? Yeah, only losing 70% in the time. You get pretty used to winning. It's a little bit. It feels a little different when you even lose. I feel like every 10% of winning, your win rate goes down. You start to feel it differently. And so when my average is 60%, and I look back on how I felt about the month just from an emotional perspective, there wasn't much. I don't say baggage, but there wasn't much weight from the losers because there was just so few of them. And when they did happen, they were very controlled, very average loss-esque. And so it just leads you to a very straightforward, kind of almost stress-free kind of month. So beyond the P&L, but just the flow from A to B, from whatever, if B was whatever profits I ended up making, like, it was a pretty straight channel there. So I definitely like that about the month.
What are you guys drinking?
Why do you care so much?
Because it's Wine Wednesday. That's how we start.
We can start any way we want.
All right, I want to start with what I'm drinking. I'm drinking a Chianti Classico that I picked up.
Chianti. I love Chianti.
Chianti.
It's an Italian wine.
It's part of the Italias and Sangiovese, the whole thing, and that's what I chose today for you guys.
I love that. Love that for you.
Yeah, tell me about yourself. Your water.
This is Bella V. It's Aldi's brand of seltzer water, carbonated water. What do you call these things?
Tonic water.
No, not tonic, because it's not that.
It's
Tonic's
weird calling it a
thing.
seltzer water. I think that's the right word, but it sounds.
I think that's
alcoholic.
it. Yeah, but it's not a
Carbonated
White Claw. Carbonated water.
Hey,
Nice.
Lemon flavored. Not a lot of lemon flavor in it, but it's yellow.
All right, Kyle, show off your Truly.
yep, truly. Watermelon.
Truly
Got a couple
spiked
left.
seltzer.
So, for those of you guys that don't know, it was Kyle's bachelor weekend this weekend. I just want to know, how many Trulies did you drink this weekend?
We only bought two packs of 12.
That's not enough.
The rest were beers. The rest were beers.
Okay, that's
and,
enough for me and Huddie to split for an afternoon.
The rest were beers and some Patron little bottle and some like Pink Whitney stuff. So
Pink Whitney, underrated.
pretty good. So most of my friends drink beer, and so I was probably the only one. Me or one or two of us were really the only ones who drink the Trulies. So we finished the Trulies, but yeah,
Were they that flavor?
yeah,
Not traditional?
they were this kind of pack. Yeah,
Ugh.
yeah. Sorry.
A lot of sugar.
Yeah.
Oh, my teeth hurt.
So yeah, it was a lot of fun. It's a good time.
Very nice.
A lot of margaritas out at the bars. That's where the Trulies stopped and the Margs.
The Margs.
Yeah.
Marks took over.
Yeah.
So, yeah, guys, let us know in the chat. How's your day? How's your week? If you're having a nice glass of water, if you're having a nice beer, if you're taking it down with some whiskey, whatever it is, let us know. Let us hear from you. We got big things to talk about today.
Yeah, get going in the live chat.
The live chat. First question. What do you think of SOUN as a sympathy to BBAI?
No.
I think BBAI is a sympathy to BBAI.
I would say
Yeah.
pull up the Soon Daily chart and you tell me if Soon did any following of BBAI today.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's a direct sympathy. Maybe if BBAI gets real nuts tomorrow, like let's say there's a chance this gaps to 8+ and then runs towards 9 or 10, then yeah, maybe it'll become the leader and anything lagging.
Soon is so big.
But yeah, Soon's kind of already had its run, and that's kind of why I think the fact that BBAI's run is happening right now is kind of odd, because it had the entire time to run with the quantum and AI sector like last month or December, and it just didn't. I mean, it kind of uptrended. It went at least up to the 4s and the 5s where the breakout level got kind of set. But then it just chopped around really. It went from the 4s to 3s to the 4s to the 3s to the 5s to the 4s, back to the 3s, back to the 4s, back, like it's just this insanely choppy last 2 months between December and January, to then break out now. Like it just I don't know if there's news I missed. I don't know if there's just a sentiment
Contract.
Yeah, people forgot about this one during the SOUN and the quantum kind of run, so they didn't really care, and now they just do. But from my perspective, they're pretty separate for whatever reason at this point in time. Maybe they won't be, but it's not a bet I would take personally. On buying SUN in the hopes that it'll go up because BBAI is up. Like clearly they weren't correlated the last 2 months. I don't think they're just going to immediately like that start trading it together.
And I think there's some merit to what Dom said, which is like, what's the daily chart? Like, BBAI is a pattern that we all can identify as a breakout. Like Soon is like, oh, maybe I get $1. But like that sounds like super unstructured.
Yeah, it's just a no.
I just think honestly, like BBAI came out of nowhere. It's the breakout play. It's in the right sector. It had the right volume, and like that's the one that I think most people should focus on. And maybe if BBAI goes to like 20, you might start seeing some like weird stocks start PRing and stuff like that. But I just feel like you got to play the ball as it lies. And today the ball was in BBAI's hand.
I looked later in the afternoon. I didn't see anything popping.
We also have that quantum ticker going higher, QNTM. I know they're not like direct correlated, quantum and AI, but they're kind of weirdly correlated.
Let me look.
It has the name quantum in it.
That did go higher today. I didn't even see that or think about that.
A lot.
You haven't made your watch list yet. It's understandable.
Yeah, I haven't. Interesting. I took a loss on that yesterday. That was annoying.
Yeah. Well, it looks like more people took a loss on it today.
Yeah, it's a good thing I didn't see it. Had me avoid it. But
so yeah, good market overall. It's always kind of weird when someone says, "Oh, the market's slow," and this and that, and I'm like, "Well, wait 3 days." Like it's so hard for me to identify like what really is a cold market until like it's really, really, really established that we were like back in 2022. And it's not less than 2 weeks ago that we had Fannie Mae breaking out of 3 and running to 7. And it's like 10 days goes by and people are like, oh, let's not play gappers anymore. Oh, let's hide away from breakouts. And then the breakout comes and no one plays it because they're scared of the market conditions. So that's why I hate that type of group think where it's like, oh, there's been nothing really for, 7 days. Like the market's dead. And it's like, you still have to be prepared. Like it can come back really quickly. We're in a Trump economy. The markets are at all highs. Like, why not? Why not BBAI breakout?
Yeah, very true. Okay. Dom, did you go golf today?
No, why?
Oh, the world sees your golf bag behind you there.
Oh,
There's also a
yeah.
soccer ball. Did you soccer today?
No, that's a ball from the state semifinal game where I scored 2 goals to get us into the championship.
Whoa.
Um,
Claim to fame.
the golf bag, I played simulator golf on Friday, and then when I got home, I put it in the living room floor, and then my wife politely put it last night, get that shit out of my living room. And instead of taking it downstairs, I moved it from right there to right here because I'm like, oh, that's a better spot for it.
In the office where it
That's why.
There
belongs.
you
Right
are.
where it belongs.
Fantastic.
Wayne brings up a good point. There's only 19 likes. If we could get that towards 50, it would put a big old smile on Dom's face. That's what we're
That
looking
was
for
actually
here.
a
Just
really good observation, Wayne.
really thank you for pointing that one out. Helps us help you know that we're all appreciating each other. We got a question about IVVD. What are our thoughts? I'll tell you my thoughts, and then maybe someone else can chime in. Not that I've taken a trade on it. I just kind of vaguely know what's going on because I know when it started to be pumped on Twitter. So Martin Shkreli is a guy out there that did one of the better pumps I've seen in my career, especially early on with KBIO. I don't even think it's a ticker anymore. And it was some stock that was going bankrupt, and he bought the whole stock, and it went to $40. And so he's kind of like, I don't know, been out of jail and done some things, and now he's just like this day trader on Twitter now or something of the sort. I don't really know much about him, but he started tweeting about IVVD on the day it started running as his like stock that he likes to be long, and he's generally short biased on everything. And you got another Martin Shkreli pump, and it's not the first time we've seen it. So that's that weird like history can sometimes rhyme, but it's not an exact science. But we've seen in the past that Martin Shkreli has some type of spike ability. I wouldn't say I don't know if he's had any other picks, but this one's been pretty good. 30 cents to $3 is in 3 days is phenomenal range. So
Pretty impressive. Yeah, my thoughts on it are, yeah, I mean, I actually didn't know Martin Shkreli tweeted about it until Huddie told me like 15 minutes ago. But so I was a little bit, well, really, I wasn't even interested in it until today, until it started running. Because again, if you watch Good Morning Nasdaq, I said, hey, it's a 2-day run up. Technically, today you could argue an attempt at a first red day, but I'd give it a C grade at best. And so again, when we're in a slower market or a market that isn't necessarily kind and giving and all the setups that are out there, I kind of figured like this was one that wasn't going to be worth it if I won, and if I lost was only going to be less worth it. So I avoided it, and I'm thankfully I did because even before the PR midday, it already grinded back red green and would have been a loss. So dodged it there. But now that we're up another 130% today, it certainly enters the realm of like, okay, we're clearly getting into overextended territory. At some point, regardless who tweets about it, whether it's Martin or I don't know the president, right? Whoever, pullbacks happen. So I will be watching this. If you're looking to long, I think you missed the boat in my opinion, from at least a safe risk reward standpoint. But if you're short biased or a short biased trader, I think this will offer something at some point. In the coming days, maybe a week. So
kind of a big blast from the past for me because what is that? Yeah, I'm gonna do the exact same thing that Dom just sent you, Kyle. It's a big blast from the past for me because KBIO was like one of the first super squeezes I ever saw in my career. Honestly, so long ago. I
actually, I
actually had
saw
a
this
really nice
chart.
gain on it. I sent you the daily.
Okay, let me pull up the intraday.
I don't know if you can.
This is the
I
intraday.
sent you a picture.
Let me see if I can pull up the date.
I was saying like the after hours on the day it started squeezing.
Yeah.
Is that the one
I remember it.
LX21 talks about?
I remember it because like everyone in the Tim Sykes chat was short. Like Good was short, Tim was short, Gratani was short. And in the after hours, it came out that he bought out the company, and it was like if you weren't at your computer, oof, oof, it got to 4 really quickly from 2.
Yeah, this is let's just let me just zoom in here. I can only zoom in a little bit.
I remember being in college just some Andercraft going like, "What is this?" I didn't know this was possible.
2 to 18 and roughly what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Yeah, roughly 20 minutes. A little bit less. Gave you a 9x. Yeah, that's pretty nuts.
Well, if you're short, think about it, right? Like
Oh
I
yeah,
remember like there was GoFundMe's that got set up because people like didn't realize that unlimited losses existed.
yeah. You learn real quick that you can lose well more than 100% on that one. Crazy. I think I was. When was that? What day? What day was that again? It was 20 what?
November?
It was before our time, wasn't it?
No. Well, I mean, I was
It
there.
would have been probably Huddie's time before our time.
I made 18K on this.
November.
No
Yeah, it
way.
was before. Yeah, it was November 2014. Yeah, it's about a year and a half to
You
2
weren't
years.
trading in 2014.
I made $18,000 on this move. I remember like it was yesterday because I had bought in on day one, and I honestly had no idea what I was doing, and I think I was frustrated. Oh my God, I am honestly so surprised I'm still a trade. Like the hump to get to responsible trading, like that's the hardest hump to get past. In my, I guess with my personality or whatever it is. Um, but I remember like buying 3,000 shares at $13, so like pretty much all in with some margin, I think at the time, and it got down to like I was down like 9 or 10K at some point in that day. I remember calling my dad and saying, like, I'm in a bad situation. I don't know what to do. Like, what's your advice? And he was like, maybe just day trading isn't for you. And I was like, F you, like that's not the answer. And hung up on him. And I just closed my phone, went to class, went to sleep that night, woke up the next morning and it gapped up. And it was like in the 20s. And I made $18,000. And I remember immediately hitting sell and being like, holy shit, that was the best gain of my career at the time. And it was absolute luck. Like I probably should have lost my whole account that night.
What's also even crazier is that if that's just day one, I don't know why I can't zoom in here, but if that's just day one, 2 days later is at 42. So
Yeah.
that's called it
That's
20x.
a pretty solid for overextended gap down too.
You're right. When it did die, it did actually end up spiking over red green.
Still a tricky one though. Went
Yeah.
through red green.
Through red green, but then not over
Oh, did
yesterday's
it? I can't
highs.
see a wick.
Well, I don't even think I
Oh,
shorted
we
that
would
'cause
have
I don't
lost
think
on that.
there weren't any shares available. Like that was back in the days where like brokers really didn't have a lot of shares to give out, and if you didn't wake up at 5 a.m., you didn't get shares. And so on like low floats like this, like I think it was a low float back then.
But God,
Like,
what a move though to look like going red green, squeezing everybody out, and then at some point later in the day, it goes from 42 down to is that 18?
yeah.
That's wild. And then another green day, and then a massive gap up after that green day from 26 to 41. It looks like.
What is that?
Yeah, that's called some volatility. That's pretty sweet. If you're on the right side of it. So
I could see me screwing that one up each and every one of those days.
Oh, what a time to be alive.
yeah, it's like I know a chart of that where I leave profits on the table if I've ever seen one.
The other one was AQXP. That was the other really big runner. You kind of remember the big ones. Like I'm what 10 years past this, and I still remember AQXP was the other one. It wasn't Martin Shkreli, but
XP.
or maybe it's not AQXP. Let's see. I just keep getting a lot of American Express.
You remember Dries?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I do remember Drive.
That was my first one
Yeah,
that I ever
Dries
saw
was
in
Dom's and
person.
I's first greetings of an insane.
Dude, I made
squeezer.
hundreds of thousands on that in paper trading. That was when I convinced myself I could do it. Obviously, tens of thousands of shares, like totally realistic. I never, no matter how much people say, like take it seriously, trade like you would, I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I just wanted to gamble with it.
Of course, yeah.
That was like 1 to 100. I remember Gertani went on a ride on that one.
I think he had like 2,500 shares, and he was just like, who cares? And next thing he knows, he's down like $20-$30 a share, and he's like, oh wait.
We never really, whenever we talk sector momentum, we don't really ever say the shipping stocks anymore. But there was a time. Ship, tops.
There was Sino, SINO.
Wait, tops or top? Which one screwed us last?
Tops is the shipping.
Yeah, TOP
Tops
was
was
the
different.
one that screwed us. TOPS.
Top screwed us. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a whole sector there for quite a bit. And I didn't know it at the time, but Dries became...
That was probably where you learned about toxic dilution.
I was gonna say Dries was the first one I saw. Then after that, where like I really understood the impacts of dilution, because then they diluted that thing into the ground for a very long time, almost to the point where like it would have had like a streak of like a full month of red days in a row. Like there was no mercy to that one. Once
Wow.
the run
RIP.
was
It's
over.
not there anymore, huh?
Nope, not even a stock anymore.
Tops is still a stock, $6. They must have done some reverse
They've
splits.
got to. Let's see.
How do you go
$6.
There's also Sino, SINO was another
Is that
one.
still there?
Sino, that was all right when I was starting. I remember all those.
Yeah.
If you go back far enough, yeah, tops is in the millions.
Look, Sino had a run from $2 to 72. Obviously, it's reverse split adjusted, but
I don't even remember the run. Was it late 2017?
yeah.
Dries?
No, top. Oh yeah, well then
Oh.
when tops ran. No, it was November, right?
Dude, imagine we had our gap and crab strategy back then.
2016 it would have been.
Oh, it's 2016. Okay, then this chart just goes so far back. So I've got all of 2016 in front of me, and tops is a little bit. I don't see a run.
It had to have been 2016 or 2017. I don't think it could have been 2015.
I think it was 2017. Let me Google this real quick.
I definitely
Dumb.
paper traded it.
When I
What?
pull up tops, I have one of those like trend lines that I had on Tilray that one time was like
From the very top down.
downtrend.
Draw your lines.
Draw your lines.
November 10th. What year? Why can't I find the year? August 20. By 2016.
Everyone's saying stellar BBAI call. I mean, Dom actually nailed it in the chat room and on Good Morning Nasdaq Live. Just said, "Hey, I'm going to buy it at 560. It's either today or it's not going to happen." I mean, Dom, you could kind of tell it, but it was a sick call.
It is what I said.
That is what you said, and it was, we're broken out. We got the volume. We're uptrending. It's time to buy, or be wrong. And you were right.
Yeah, it's my least favorite way. It's the worst situation in terms of how much money I can make on these things. I think Kellogg was buying it yesterday in the mid fours. That's always going to be a better situation in terms of being able to build in. And once you're up this morning and it's broken out, you have a cushion. You have that ability to put all your risk on low day, add to it. But me coming into today, not knowing if I wanted to trade that breakout, but they had news. I generally don't buy stuff from pre-market, even when it is like, probably happened 10 or 15 minutes before they open. And so I just waited for a low day to be put in and said, that's what I told Huddie. I said, if it's going to break out, it's going to be strong today. And then I started to see the volume. And I think in the first 10 or 20 minutes, we were at 20 or 30 million. And I was like, this is going to wipe yesterday's volume off the grid. And we ended up doing what? 268 million today. Pretty incredible. And yeah, there was a lot wrong with it. Maybe I'll do a video lesson or a YouTube video or something on it, on BBAI. Just my thoughts on it, because there's a lot I didn't like about it, but it kind of goes to show, what we talked about at the end of last year. Shut your eyes and buy the breakout. When the volume's there, when there's a catalyst, when it's an old former runner,
Hot sector.
they can move. And you saw that, it really broke away from its trend of being a slow mover. You saw the clear volume that was in it today, and we'll see if it has any more in store, if it can do 8 or 9. And I don't know what Kyle wants to see for a short tomorrow, but it's probably what he wants to see.
Yeah.
We're gonna stop it from going to 9. I'll tell you that much.
I found it was November 2016 because SOIN on here is the run that was the sympathy. And this did not go to $70. They definitely did a reverse play. I think this was at like $4 or $5. It went from like 1 to, or like 70 cents to like 4 or 5, something like that. But yeah, quite nuts.
You don't really ever see. We have stocks that go to 100 now, but it's like the sketchiest of the sketchies do it, and like it's really illiquid. But I kind of feel like Dries was like a super liquid stock the whole way, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was heavily traded. It was not some sketchy, scammy
China
thing.
turd.
Yeah, no.
But it was another one that, like, on the drop day, I remember GME was the same way. Like, if you didn't have the right broker, it was another one that was really hard to get the shares. That day,
Well,
at
they
least,
had to
because
halt
started
it. The run only ended because they halted it.
Oh yeah, that's what it was.
It was
They
up
halted
to,
at 115.
yeah, and then it reopened at like 30
Like
and
a
then
like a news
crushed.
halt.
Yeah.
No, like a Nasdaq halt. Like we're gonna
Oh
stop. We're gonna
really?
put an end to this run and reopen it.
Like a T12?
Yeah,
Didn't
something like
they?
that.
Weren't you in a stock elephant or something, Huddy?
Yep.
And they did something like that, and you made a bunch
I
of
was about to
money.
get I was
I
about to
didn't
get
know
blown out
you,
of the
but we
water.
were in the Sykes room together, and I remember you were talking about how you were stuck in it short, and you made like 20K or something.
Well, yeah, that was awesome. I mean, it was like a third green day. It was like up from 7 to 26. It was like this big scam company that was like changing their
Bitcoin
name into
related.
Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're changing the name to Bitcoin, and that was the only reason it was running, and it was an obvious scam. And so I just started like kind of barreling into SPY. Like I didn't have much of a process back then. I was just kind of like trading on feel and gut, and which is not the best place to trade on. Sometimes works. Um, and I was just like adding 1,000 shares, 1,000 shares, 1,000 shares at a time. Like every time it went higher, like just kind of putting myself in a blow up situation. Quite honestly, if I have to like think back to it, and then all of a sudden, like as it's getting to my stop level, it just halts. It was just halted, and everyone's like T12 halt, and I'm like, what the f is that? And they're like, buddy, it's not opening up for 3 months. I was like, well, that's lame. And I paid overnight fees for 3 months. It was like $60 a day
Ugh.
for 3 months while the stock is halted. And I was like talking to Michael Good. He's like, dude, it could be halted for 2 years. And I was like, dude, shut the f up. Like, like I might go bankrupt if that happens.
Yeah.
That's not
Um,
fair that they can charge. I hate that. I hated that.
yeah.
They
And,
still-
It's like you have no
yeah,
control over
There's
it.
some stock that got halted like less than 6 months ago that is still halted, and like I remember people trying to figure out how the hell they get out because you're just paying interest forever.
but I remember it
Bad.
eventually we opened at like $5 and I just like another really big gain. And honestly, I attribute those to luck. Like we've had much better gains since then that were way more like the oil and gas run in 2022. Like that was okay. I know what I'm doing and I'm putting the right size in for a goddamn good reason.
A little more controlled, yeah, or know-how in the gains.
That was fun. Good
Did
times.
did we ever get a black swan in 2024? That's a good question. for
Black
Sean.
Swan?
Was
Yeah.
DXYZ?
I mean, I guess it depends on what you constitute a black swan, because only we've seen more and more crazy stuff recently that that sets a new precedent for what a black swan is. Because when I think of DXYZ, Dom, I do agree, like that's definitely one of the more outrageous
9 to
runners.
100? That's pretty good.
Yeah, excuse me. Yeah, but it wasn't. I would argue it wasn't.
Like I didn't hear anyone
Mar-
blow up on that one.
Yeah, it wasn't market breaking. You didn't hear everyone and their mother talking about it. In fact, it was. I feel like DXYZ was actually quite quiet. I remember not many people actually realizing that the opportunity that resulted itself on that first run.
What about Lunar?
FFIE.
Yeah,
The problem is FFIE it's such a weird one to call that.
Yeah.
But it did
4
get us
cents to
all.
$4 with a billion shares every single day. I've never seen that before. That literally is the definition of a black swan. Like something so unique that it hardly ever comes around.
Price wise, it'll be underlooked, but yeah, percent gain and like attention, I would argue that's up there. That was a big one.
And just the sheer volume that it was pumping every day was insane.
Yeah. But also, someone comments HKD, but that was I think 2023. But that is definitely.
What was the one that we VFS or something? Was that one?
Yeah,
Not a
that one
black
went to 90
swan.
cents. But I would argue.
What are we
that's-
calling black swans? Those are not traditional moves.
No, I'm thinking I'm biased here. Where I think when I think black swan, I think it also gets the attention from the market. It doesn't come and go quietly, and I think DXYZ and VFS came and go quietly. Whereas, when you think when I think back of me recognizing dries, it was like everyone and their mother was talking about it. Like you got text messages, "Hey, have you heard this stock?" from people who don't even trade. Tilray was
A black swan.
That was a big move. Yeah.
That was like I think my favorite time of my career. I wish I had the skills I have now back then.
Yeah, that kind of a daily.
Those
the most
OTC,
recent,
and those, but even those OTC sympathies, like
yeah, those were big.
That's great. That was when pot N happened. That was my
oh
biggest
my
trade.
gosh, what that do? Was
I
that
remember-
was like 4 cents to $1?
Dude, I remember pot N and I remember it was at $1 and my watch list said put all in tomorrow if it goes red.
That's funny.
I was like, I've never seen something this good before in my life. Like I have to put the whole account in. A wild Huddie back then.
Knives, congrats me on my January onto a record year. Let's hope so, Knives. Only 11 months left, but thank you. I appreciate it.
On the right track, I'll tell you what.
Good start, yeah, for sure.
If you have this kind of month every month,
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, let's just extrapolate it out perfectly.
The issue is trading is never linear,
Yeah.
and that's just the issue. It's just not linear.
Yeah. I hear you. Let's see.
Someone asked me, have I been in the game since 2014? Ooh.
He's
Feel
been
aged just with that question.
He's been trying, yeah.
Yeah, no, I think I probably started looking at markets in 2014. I don't think I was like trading all that much in 2014, but I was definitely aware of like the biggest runners and like marking my charts and keeping a database of them and starting that whole process in the beginning to try to find where you belong and getting where you fit in, make some memories. That definitely started in 2014, and by the time like mid 2015 came, I was in the Tim Sykes challenge. So I'd say around there.
Good comment here. Drug went from 3s to 50.
That was a weird one. That was on my birthday.
Yeah. That one, I don't think maybe offered as great of a short opportunity, but it certainly had, I definitely would agree, it had the fear, the velocity that when it went up, it was like, whoa.
Wait, when was that?
This was in October. And even now, it's still at 39. That's crazy. Yeah.
Oh, that broke out on the day I died.
Okay.
Was it that day? Was that October?
Yeah. 18th.
Wow.
Yeah, that may be why I don't remember that one at all. I feel like I traded that though on one of the moves. Maybe I traded that day.
Yeah, because your incident didn't happen until later that night.
Yeah, after hours.
Yeah. So. Yeah, that was crazy.
I gotta look now and see if I traded it.
Gotta go back, find your.
I traded it at $25 and sold it at 24.8. That was on the 17th. So I was a day early. Whoa, maybe it was like a failed first green day or something. Yeah. Wow, that just gapped up right to the breakout level. How did I miss that? Those are fun charts.
Yeah, and Elfin went from 8 to 120. That was a really good one.
Well, there was two pumps on Elfin. Elfin went from 8 to 120. Like that's not the move I hit back in 2017. I remember that one too. But then they had a repump in April. You can see it April 4th to April 6th. You have this like beautiful 3-day chart. And then you have a gap down, a month and a half later to 5.
Let's see. William says, Kyle, you look tired. Don't get me started, William. That's because I am. I got a lot going on in the background. Good things. Nothing bad or terrible, but a lot on my plate, life-wise, that are good things. But you got to plan them out. You got to move some stuff. You got to hire some people. Nothing to do with trading or Clover, but some other big life stuff. So yes, I am.
Just more important things than us.
I've got some big. Got my plate's pretty full. So yes. Knife says, Dom, what happened?
Another day.
Yeah, I'll share another time. But he's here, which is important.
Story for another time.
Knives and congrats me on life stuff. Thanks, Knives. I appreciate it.
Remember VLTC? Was that before your guys' time too?
VLT. Was that the billionaire play?
Voltar?
Yeah,
I do remember that one. I don't think I was around for it.
Carl Icon's son or Carl Icahn bought in at 50 cents and it ran to 26 in 2 weeks.
I either
That was
remember
sick.
watching or reading about it, or
Maybe it's not VLCN, VL something.
yeah. Depending on what year it was. If it was pre 2016, then not. But if it was like 2017, 2018, then I definitely watched it. I do remember the gist. Let's see,
You
Carl.
should have seen me like just like 2016, 2017. Like, what do I do with this? This is crazy.
And I'll say nice and small cap. 2015. No,
VLTC is for sure. VLTC.
VLTC.
That's for sure it. Yep.
It's no longer a ticker, but if we go back,
I have the chart in front of me. You can see that.
oh yeah, here we go. I'll show the chat. Here we go, chat.
This is
Here we
like what
go,
first
chat.
inspired
Here we
me.
go, chat.
This is what first inspired me to become a day trader. Like I was like if you look at VLTC, like there's one, two, three, four breakouts that all kind of led to excessive profits. And I went to Twitter and I was like, I just typed in VLTC and I was like, who's long? And there's this little guy named Tim Grittani who's like, I'm long from the twos,
This
multi-day
is
breakout.
2015. Yeah, I wasn't around for this.
I was like, all right, who's this Tim Grittani guy? I want to learn from him.
Gap from about $1 to $2, and they're 270, and then month and a half later, it's at 20. Quite the uptrend. That's pretty
Yeah,
impressive.
so that's when we used to have like billionaire plays, right? Like George Soros, PBMD. PBMD was another one.
Let's see.
Where George Soros
PBMD.
bought it and it went from like, I don't know, that wasn't as crazy as VLTC. I don't have a ticker anymore. And but like the whole point is like that's what IVVD reminds me of. It's like the Martin Shkreli play. Like there's this like big activist that's behind it, and like don't underestimate those moves when they get going. I guess is my only point.
Mm-hmm. Well, this in 2024, it was more. What was it? It was more not billionaire plays, but billionaire companies, right? When Nvidia started having a stake in SOUN and SERV, that was kind of the equivalent of you know of that for us in 2024.
Serve.
Serve the swerve.
Wayne B says, I do like Timmy's 7-minute trades. It sounds like sarcasm.
What is it?
7-minute trades?
What's a 7-minute trade mean?
I don't know. I've never been in a 7-minute trade.
In a trade for 7 minutes. I feel like the longer I've traded, the longer my time frames get. And I don't mean time frames as in like, looking months out, even though I can take a trade that takes that long. But like, earlier. Well, also I should say when I first started trading, panic dip buys were a big portion of that, and that could be a pretty quick trade. And those don't happen nearly as much at all anymore. But I feel like now, if I'm going to trade, the minimum time frame I'm going to be in is at least an hour, maybe a little longer on like average. But I certainly remember back in the day, a lot of trades I took were quick. I remember my first I think it was like $87 profit, right? It was like 2016, 2017. I was just starting to get my groove of locking in, $100 gains roughly. And I remember making 87 bucks in like 30 seconds. Like one candle gave me like a 10% move, and I was like, I'm gonna take it. And that was probably like the time I was like, wow, this is the quickest money I've ever made. But obviously, there's been much bigger portions made much quicker than that sense.
But those are the times where you kind of believe that like, cut losses quickly and like don't be in the trade for too long and like get your money, immediately instead of like letting the setup work and play out and like develop into the best thing it can be. That same trader buys the break on a BBAI and is out at 588,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hear you. Dom, did you end up holding BBAI for the gap up, or did you end up selling it midday?
I'm still in it. I had a what did I have? 560 average this morning. Sold some at 630, 670, and 730. Then I've been slowly adding a little bit in after hours here, little by little, to get back to a little bit more than I started with. risking 660s and hoping that this is kind of one I might mess with because I feel kind of somewhat safe as long as they don't do an offering, but maybe waiting till 7 a.m. checking it then.
It's pretty 50-50 whether they do an offering. They have the capabilities to do one, but on every single run that they've had, they've always had those capabilities and have not done it. So like it'd be kind of random. Like it's the thing I would bet on that they're going to do it.
Yeah, they would have done it by now. Well, that's to say though, if they didn't have cash earlier, but it looks like they still have a decent amount of cash left. So we'll see.
Okay, well, what's your thoughts on VLCN going from 10-10 to sub 2? Dom calling the 10 max.
What's my what?
I don't know. Your thoughts on calling the 10 max.
Calling the 10 max. What am I missing?
You remember in Government Isaac, you said, "Hey, if this goes to 10,
you're talking about a different stock."
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was right. So I think this is going to 10. We talked about that today or yesterday because Huddie did a good job shorting it yesterday and nailing it once after Ed ran. And the whole morning I just kept reminding him, hey, remember when I said it was going to go 10? And it did. I would have, even if I was like dead set I'm playing it, I probably wouldn't have. I mean, it was what? Straight halt up again, a little consolidation, then halt up. So not like it was like a easy runner. It was easy if you shut your eyes, click buy at the open, but that's not my speed, not my style.
Most time that's not going to work out like that.
No, rarely.
Especially with something as toxically dilutive as VLCN was. Like if you guys actually like know the big picture behind it, like that's a horrible, horrible situation. I don't think a lot of longs made it out of there. Okay.
No, probably not. Probably not.
It's not often that a stock goes from like the lows to like 6-month highs and then back down to the lows and then offering in the day to gap it down even lower. That's crazy.
Insane round trip. Yeah. Is BBI at highs? No, it needs to go 10 more cents roughly.
It's there.
It's impressive, man. I wish I had the guts to just buy it at 7, but
hard to tell you at close.
I'm too focused on the opposite side of the trade now that we're kind of entering that territory, but
it will come when it comes, Kyle.
Yeah.
For now, I'm seeing green.
For now, we just want it to go to like 17 at 4 a.m.
Well, 10 extra bucks higher. No big deal.
Oh, I remember that.
Should we just before taking more
what's your target besides 17?
That's a rough target, loose target.
Yeah, that's the minimum.
I don't really have one. I'm kind of in a somewhat comfortable position here on it, and 8:50 to 9 would kind of be where if I got up at 5 or 6 a.m. and it was like spiking at 8:60, 8:70, I'd probably just sell it and move on with my day or start my day with a cushion. Kind of depends how great. If I woke up and it was at like 8:22, I'd probably go back to bed and see where it's at the next time I wake up. Because this is one where it's not like a lot of the plays. I feel like if you Don Juan or you play him in after hours, like the goal is to kind of be out in pre-market. That's not necessarily my goal on BBI because it is such a liquid stock. I do like there is a world tomorrow is a similar day to today, and it's just like thinking RGTI QUBT like tomorrow's just another strong day and it doesn't need a giant gap, and maybe it can morning spike at 9:30 from 8 to 9:50. So I'm not ruling it out that I have to be out in pre-market. So if we're like above 8:50, I'd probably be like, this is pretty good for 6 a.m. So I'll take it. But if not, yeah, probably in the 9s.
If it's at 8:40.
Go back to bed.
Yeah, but 8:50.
Sit there for a bit.
see if it go to 9. Yeah.
If I got up and it was at 8:40, I would probably throw 3 random orders from like 8:60 to 9:50 and then go back to bed.
I did that for GME over the last summer, where it was one of the times I was long overnight into like one of the Roaring Kitty hype sessions, and I woke up at 1 a.m. my time, sold about, I don't know, maybe 1/10 of my shares, right at pre-market open because it was already gapping up from like, I don't know, like it was like 30, it was like 35 to 45, something already good. And then I remember because I sold a portion, I was like, okay, we could just like let this sit. And then I remember placing 500 share orders every like $5 higher, just every, like 45, 55, 60, 65, 70. And then I woke up actually when I normally would wake up, and I came to notice that all of the orders filled because it literally went to like 80. And that was pretty cool. I was like filling in my sleep. So that was a sick run.
Dreaming about money.
Yeah, just making money while I do nothing,
Those are great when wish orders get filled. Like if you're short something and like it went from like $1 to $6, and you're like your plan is to be super patient, so you throw a bunch of orders, you're gonna walk away for a bit, and you're so confident you don't put a stop in, you put cover orders in, like take profit orders, and you come back and you see those triangles, and you're like, oh my gosh,
sweet
genius,
sweet victory. Oh.
Should we talk a little bit about the boot camp and the raffle next week? We should have had everything ready to go tonight to be able to tell people.
Yeah, it's gonna get. I think the final list of how do people enter will get created by we'll send it out either late this week or early next week, like a Monday. We're gonna do the same thing. We'll get the wheel going, right? People's names they enter in.
Get the wheels.
Yeah. But yeah, we will do our raffle. We'll give away one free boot camp ticket. We'll announce that winner next Wednesday. So again, stay tuned on either our social medias or Twitters, or most likely our Good Morning Nasdaqs from Dom. We'll send out the official release where you can enter to win. And then yeah, come Wednesday, next Wednesday, week from today, which again you will have to be there to win. We call your name and you say I accept. We'll see you in LA, March 22nd through 24th.
Who's interested? Who wants to win the raffle? Let us know. Put good vibes out there.
Yeah, put in the
Who
chat.
would only go if they won the raffle.
Yeah, put in the chat if you already bought a ticket and you're saying screw, you're not going to bet on your luck and just going, and then put in the chat if you're going to sign up with the hopes of winning. That'd be cool to see. Because it'd be cool to see some people who put it in there, like I want to win, and then come next Wednesday they actually show up and they win. I'm trying to remember all the names.
Looking forward to the boot camp. Looking forward to hanging out with everyone.
It'll be a full year since the last one.
Yeah.
We were all giddy in like 2022 and 2023, like, oh yeah, we're gonna try to do 4 of these a year, and then we like plan one. We're like, these are a lot of time and effort, guys. This is
And it's hard to get a lot of people to go.
Yeah, that too. As fun as they
don't have that big of a following.
Yeah.
We got 6.1K subscribers though.
6.1, really? We're already over. We just know it was like last week. You were like,
did you miss it? Yeah.
Look at us go.
Hit that subscribe button.
Yeah, honestly, Fran is the lucky name.
That's so funny. Yeah, William says my name will be Fran on the raffle.
Fran Gregory.
Nikita says, if I win, do I get a refund? I guess technically. Yeah. Or you could bring a friend, whatever you want to do. That's somewhat true. El Jefe says, I want to win. Oh my God, Williams. Yeah, Williams going to put his name as Fran Gregory. That's hilarious. Will says, winning would be cool. Wayne says, can't travel at the moment, but got a new puppy. Oh, I feel you, Wayne. That's difficult to leave.
Bring the puppy.
Have a little, furry child around.
Bring the puppy.
Bring the puppy.
And Joshua's in Canada, so hard to travel. Yep, totally get it. Traveling is no joke.
I just can't wait to see my friends.
My friends.
Just want to do hood stuff with my. What is the?
Yeah, the meme or that video is I want to do hood stuff with my buddies.
My friends?
He says my friends. I just want to do ratchet hood stuff with my friends.
That's what I do. I want to do. Oh, questions. So I got a whole half of the week left, huh? Thursday.
It feels
like there's like less than half, but yeah.
It feels like Friday to me, but
it's hump day, Huddie. It's 2 days, halfway points today, and then 2 days. It's half.
I didn't make a trade today. That was kind of cool. I mean, the one was BBAI, and I just didn't want to chase it the whole day, so whatever. But no trades for me today. That was kind of cool.
Sounds boring.
Nice patience.
Well, still the best week of 2025 for me. So, if I ended my week right here, it's nice. I hope there are no trades.
It's only like we're only like 6 weeks in. You made it sound like it was like some record break. I mean, I guess it's true, but it was just like it's like day one, January 2nd, the first trade day. New best day of the year, everybody. Coming in hot.
New best week of the year.
Hey,
If it stays
true.
right here,
Yeah.
all because of VLCN. What did I do last week? Last year? Last month? Yeah. I could end the week right now.
That's how I felt. I felt the market changing, 2 Mondays ago? And I was already like right there at my monthly goal. And I'm like, you have like two thoughts, right? One is like, I'm about to blow the doors off my monthly goal, like because there's 2 weeks left and I'm already there. Or this is the top of where we're gonna be at the end of the month, and we're just gonna give it some back into the end. It ended up being like 7 straight red days, and I just it's like I kind of feel like tapping. But you never will do it. You never just like quit for the month because it's always about the opportunity ahead. But I was like, please don't let me get this close, and then just the rest. Because I just knew the market was shifting. We didn't have the plays, and I was like, oh, can I just have like another $1,000, and then I'll stop.
That's funny. All right, we got 8 seconds before the after hours close here. Both BBAI and IVVD closing pretty cute.
Do you have a plan for IVVD? Because where did we close today?
Where did we close? Let's look.
292. No, that's this hour, after hours. I hate DOS so much. I hate scrolling.
Like 213, the two teens.
So it's going to be like a 50% up on the day when we get here.
Yeah, it's going to be a big gap. I
hope it's at 6.
I mean, yeah, the bigger the gap, the harder I think it's going to hold up. So we'll have to see, but either way, yeah. And I think that's true for both BBI and IVVD. Just the bigger the gaps here, it's going to be difficult for them to sustain. Doesn't mean they can't, but again, the odds, the higher they go, become more difficult. So, anyways,
yeah, we got at least the next 2 days. We'll have stuff to look at. Mm-hmm. There will be a first red day on BBAI or IVVD. I saw the whatever REBN, that one. Did that die today at the end of the day or something? My charts are so bad. That was setting up and holding up. There's plays out there, folks. I got to make my watch list here in a second. There's stuff. Out of nowhere, too. Huddie was right. Just wait 3 days.
Just wait.
Just give it a second.
The market's not cold. Oh, it was cold. Oh, no, it's not. Like, keep those thoughts out of your mind. Yeah. Unless, again, I always say, unless you have some way of identifying with qualitative analysis, or maybe like quantitative, like what defines a cold market. Like, don't tell me it's cold, because then you're just going to miss the next breakout, because you're going to be, oh, the market's cold.
Yeah, the name of coldness.
Yeah, like, as long as you know what a good breakout looks like, the catalyst, the volume, the sector, what the overall, chart looks like and stuff like that. Like, play them as they come.
Any overnight holds, Kyle? No, none for me. I mean, I guess, technically nothing besides my long-term ideas, which I've had for like months, if not coming up on probably a year for some of them. But no immediate plays that have popped up, that I have overnight tonight. Nikita asked Kyle, "Are you upset with MSTR earnings?" ? Honestly, Nikita, I haven't even looked at them. I haven't.
Did they really change their name?
They did, yeah. So now it's a strategy, not MicroStrategy. But I haven't looked because I just didn't really care, because it's like
what Let me look doing. For you.
What they do, technically, the only earnings is their old business, and clearly they're focusing on much different business that technically doesn't really have earnings, so to speak. It's more just how much Bitcoin have they accumulated. So no, I haven't even looked, and probably won't, honestly, unless you tell me. I probably won't look.
You just have a good till canceled stop in.
Yeah, we're just gonna trust it. So
didn't really do anything after hours.
No, just faded because Bitcoin faded a bit. So luckily, that's what I could have hoped for. I didn't really want any massive volatility up or down, just to kind of prove what I thought, which was like the market shouldn't really care. It's pretty obvious what they're doing. There should be no surprises, and that's kind of what it looks like. So, which is good. Anyways,
Anywho,
I should have renamed their company to Ponzi Scheme of the Century.
hey,
strategy. And they started selling some merch. I might buy like a strategy mug or something. Strategy hat. Anyways, feel free to answer or ask your last few questions. We'll go on another couple minutes because I know we're a little bit late.
what time should I set my alarm for tomorrow? What do you think, Kyle? Are we feeling like are we checking at 4 or should we set it for like 6:25?
I think I in my experience, the later I check, or not the later, but the more normal process I have, like if I wake up in my normal time, that usually benefits me 9 times out of 10 than trying to wake up earlier for a specific time. Now it's easy to say that when, the next time I do it, I wake up and it's like, it looks terrible. And if I woke up earlier, would have, saved my ass. But like, excuse me, I can think of a lot of times where I woke up early in the name of, being cautious, and it hurt me more than it helped me. So
Set it for 10:30, Dom.
10. I'm not going to be a Good Morning Nasdaq tomorrow, guys. Have you ever thought that? There have been so many times. We used to have a saying for it in the Michigan office. It was like, put a stop in and go into the woods. Yeah. It was like, if I could legit throw my phone out and just, I know for a fact, and it used to be that way with OTCs, like you knew which ones had like 3 or 4 green days in them on breakouts. And you're like, dude, if I just could not watch it, I would make so much more money than if I sit here and watch it and sell on day 2. But I don't know that if that's the case on BBI. I don't have a great read.
That was the whole thing with the oil and gas sector. It was like, how late can I wake up? I started selling immediately because there was so much money. Like, obviously the profit kind of overwhelms my emotions, but had I waited like another 45 minutes, it would have been like $250,000. Whoops. Sold at 4, ran to 8.
Yeah, Dom, I would try to. When do you normally wake up? When's your normal time?
7.
Oh, then wake up at 7.
Do I look at 7?
Do you normally look at 7?
At stocks?
Yeah.
No, if I want to know what stocks are doing, I just go to the Clover room and see what William's doing.
When do you start looking at stocks after waking up at 7?
When I sit down for Good Morning Nasdaq at 8:45.
Oh, okay. No, all right. Then I would wake up at 7.
Should we just do I won't look, and then we'll all look together for the first time at 8:45?
Look at it by 8 o'clock.
I'll look when I look. It'll probably be 4.
He'll wake up. He'll just wake up naturally and be like, "Yeah, I need to check."
I don't like leaving things that like positions out there because then I feel dumb if I could have checked and like it's gapping down a lot or something.
Unless bad news comes out overnight, I doubt it gaps down. But we'll see.
Soon, if I remember correctly, the $4 breakout or $4 or $5 one, which is very similar to this one, they increased the crap out of the range. The volume that day was a huge daily chart breakout. Like, let's not forget what 675 is on this daily chart. Like that's a really big level from the AI boom of 2023. And that didn't start like I remember it was like squeezing out to 9 or 10, wasn't it that high? At like maybe it was 7 or 8. But it was like because Jack murdered that one, and that was at like 7 or 8 a.m. like later in pre-market. So we'll see. It's gonna go up or down.
It's gonna do the thing.
It's a good question.
Last couple questions here. Do you have somebody you're reading?
Yeah, I really like the way you trade these dilutive stocks like FFIE and TNXP. What kind of run do you like to see ideally?
I think he's talking to the one who does that, Kyle.
I know. I'm thinking like it's not really. There's no real percent run I look for. It's just the fact that they're so dilutive that any run is kind of an opportunity. Now, obviously, it doesn't mean just because it's up, you just blindly short. You want to make sure the actual dilution is effective and willing and able. But I don't have a what kind of run up that a run up. I hate to be just as broad, but like it goes up enough, which is to me is going to be at least 50%, 100%, somewhere around that range. Because once you get to that range on something super dilutive, it starts to either the insiders or the market itself starts to sniff out the fact that like, hey, this is an opportunity to sell some shares. But it's not just any run up; it needs to have volume, right? You could have a super dilutive stock that goes up call it 50% on maybe over 3 days, and no one's watching. It could be very illiquid. In that case, I wouldn't like it. You want it when others are watching it and there's a lot of volume going on, because that's the key to allow the company to actually sell shares in a liquid market. So
Yeah, I think what's more important is the structure of the stock than the actual run up itself. Like if it goes up, you're willing to short it because of what these tickers to be.
right. Yep.
Yeah, I don't do it often. I did do it on Fifi last month or two, and I did on TNXP. But if you can kind of like everything always kind of boils down to technicals. I feel like these bounce backs are pretty significant. Like even Holo, which isn't the same type of thing. Fifi, Holo, TNXP, significant bounces. Like TNXP is like 5 green days in a row. Like, and they set you up for a freaking home run. And then they had a nice first red day. And all I did was just be more patient with the exit because of what Kyle says about the dilution. And you just trade it like normal for entry. Like I feel like if you try to be early on those, you just get run through. Like Fifi had a crazy bounce back on after its first red day. But that ended up being a really nice lower high.
Thoughts on CPIX short? Let me pull it up here.
What was that? 2-day runner?
Yeah, so it's gone from
2 to 6.
yeah, it's pretty good. Volume could be slightly better, and I say that because yes, 60 million is good. But then you go on the intraday and like 90% of that volume is in a 30-minute time period, and then it just drops off like a rock. So it's a little bit awkward. But the extension is there for sure. And if it panics enough, the volume will be there, but it'll just be short-lived, because once the volatility up or down ends, I imagine it's going to end up similar to today, where it's just like after 10 o'clock, 10:30ish, you're back to this illiquid kind of, not too illiquid, but it doesn't compare to the first 30 minutes of the day today. So something to keep in mind with that. But it looks good. It is extended. Anyways, any other questions before we close it out here? What do you call the pattern, Kyle? Or that? What do you call the pattern, Kyle, or that pattern? I just waited for TNXP to be red and then traded as a first red day, but you do it differently. Yeah, so it's a mix. It's really whatever you want it to be, as long as it's within that framework of those setups. So like, yeah, you could have traded it as a first red day, and technically it had that awkward, like not awkward, but it had that out of the blue panic late day, and then it bounced. So technically that's the first red day, but if you didn't trade that, you could have waited for the next day and have it roll over like a late day fade red first red day, which was also really, really good. That to me is just the confirmation that the backside's beginning. And again, the only reason why I would decide to swing them, or in this case TNXP, is because of its dilutive qualities. If it wasn't as dilutive, or I didn't think it was going to fade as quickly as it usually does, then yeah, I probably would have just traded it for a first red day and been done after the day it went to, 35 cents, 40 cents, whatever it was. But I trade them differently, specifically like we talked about the first answer, which is like, it's dilutive. It's more than just dilutive. It is arguably one of the top dilutive companies in the market. So, the first red day is cool, but I figured, if I hold this for another week or two, there's going to be another, call it 30, 40, 50, maybe 60% downside. And then we got lucky with the reverse split announcement, which gave me, almost an immediate 50% lower. So yeah, hopefully that helps. Last question here. QUBC long thoughts, question mark. I haven't really looked at this ticker.
No, it's not good. It's not good.
Talk to me.
In my opinion.
Why is it not good?
It's HUBC, HUBC. I'll just give you like the quick elevator pitch. Like look at the volume on BBAI today. Like look at a good breakout. It was trading 250 million shares on the day, and has a pretty fresh chart breaking out of all-time highs, kind of an upward trending chart. And then you compare that with like HUBC and also BBAI, former runner, good sector. And then you just compare it with HUBC. Like every time HUBC, look back to October, right? Of not last year, but the year before that. Like every time it has a breakout, it fails. Every time, and then on top of that, like the breakouts that are happening right now, albeit the chart is there, like the volume is like 6 or 7. Like this is the lowest volume it's had on any breakout. And I'm supposed to expect this one's going to magically work. I just don't. I don't see myself like gravitating towards Hub C. I'd much rather something like BBAI. I just think that's a better built chart, better built volume, better built catalyst, better built, history. So it's just like adding up all those facts, and it's like, why would I want to trade Hub C?
Yeah. Yeah, there's better opportunities out there when you you compare and contrast the two. Well, okay, great questions today, guys. Thanks for tuning in. As always, remember we'll feed that information to you about the raffle next week as soon as we get official, a notice or the official webpage to send in your email. I'm sure, at least because we know who's who. And yeah, have a great rest of your Wednesday night. Get some good sleep. I know I will, because tomorrow could be a very eventful day. And yeah, any last other comments, Huddie or Dom?
No comments, no questions, concerns. Get your boot camp tickets on the website, clovertrade.io. As always, check us out over there on the website if you're interested in joining 3 or 4 Leaf, where you can have access to us at all times, especially a bunch of other really great traders that are in there, always throwing their ideas. You get video lessons, hundreds of hours of webinars, and you have a webinar tomorrow with Kyle. So
Nice.
it's a great time. Enjoy it over there. And if you're interested in upgrading your education, we'd always love to have you.
There you go. Thanks so much, everybody. We'll see you next time. Peace.